Hello, good day, ma'am. This is the Nature of Probability and Statistics, Chapter 6, the Normal Distribution. So, what is normal distribution? The normal distribution, or simply as normal curve, is a bell-shaped distribution which has important role in inferential statistics. It provides a graphical representation of statistical values that are needed in describing the characteristics of population as well as in making decisions. So what you see right now, it is an example of a normal distribution. Take a look. It looks like a bell. So normal distribution is a bell shape. So this figure, I would like you to identify which is the normal curve or normal distribution presentation. So I know, right? It is the color blue. Yes, the normal distribution is the color blue, and this yellow and the color green, we call it skewed. Okay, what is skewed? When the majority of the data values fall to the left or right of the mean, the distribution is said to be skewed. So when the majority of the data values fall to the right of the mean, the distribution is said to be negatively or left skewed distribution. On the other hand, the mean is to the left of the median, and the mean and the median are to the left of the mode. When the majority of the data values fall to the left of the mean, the distribution is said to be a positively or right skewed distribution. So that is why it is skewed, because it is not bell-shaped and it is not even. Alright? Just looking at this picture, you can already identify which is a normal distribution and which is the skewed one. So let's not focus on skewed, let's focus about the normal distribution. Okay, for further understanding, I would like to give an example. Just like, okay, let's say for example, ang section 1 is the exam of 1 to 50 items. Okay? So, na-exam sila 1 to 50 items. So, probably, dili tanan makakuha og lowest score. Dili po tanan makakuha og highest score or perfect. So, probably there is a evenly distributed scores. Let's say for example, na nakakuha, let's say for example, ang lowest is 5, so 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, paingon na gina siya sa 50. Okay, but the common grades or the common scores that the section 1 gets lies in here. Lies din sa tunga. Musulod siya dira sa tunga. Alright, ang pinaka common nga scores nga nakuha sa section 1. So here, makita nato that ang section 1 is nakakuha og scores nga daghan. Let's say for example, 9 naka lowest, napoy naka highest, and then but mostly of them get the scores of, let's say for example, naka-passing scores wherein kung mo siyang curve into a normal distribution, it looks like this. Okay, so kung sa histogram pag gani siya makita na nimo nga normal or even ang pagka-distribute sa mga scores. Okay, so diyan nimo makita nga even siya. So ini-curve nimo din makita na nimo nga it is a normal distribution because it is a bell shape. So ina pag-identify sa normal distribution, basta makuha lang nimo or ang because when the data values are evenly distributed about the mean, a distribution is said to be a symmetric distribution or a normal distribution. So even ang iyang pagkakuha sa scores, ani nga graph or ani nga presentation. Okay, because a normal distribution is a continuous symmetric bell-shaped distribution of a variable. So evenly distributed ang scores. That is why it come up with a bell shape. That is normal distribution. Now, the normal distribution refers to a continuous probability distribution. Describe a normal equation. So we have here the equation. Okay, take a look at that. So a random variable x whose distribution has the normal shape of a normal curve called a normal random variables. So these random variables x is said to be a normally distributed with mean in standard deviation. So kaning standard deviation and mean is daw kayo siya og papel or daw kayo siya og rule when it comes to kalapad or kataas or unsa ka peak ang curve or unsa kalapad ang ka-wide ang curve sa atuang normal distribution. So daw kayo siya og papel when it comes to that curve, okay? So let's now proceed to, ako lang yung siyang i-explain later. So let's now proceed to the properties muna of a normal distribution. So number one is, of course, the distribution is bell shape. So as you can see here, that our curve is a bell shape. Alright, so this is a bell shape. Simple. Number two, the curve is symmetrical about its center. When we say, what is symmetrical? Okay, when we say symmetrical, it is kung imo ni siyang tungaon sa tunga, when you cut it in the middle, fair enough, ang naapod sa pikas, mo po'y area nga nasa pikas. Ang area nga nasa pikas, mo po'y area sa nasa pikas. Okay? So, meaning to say, it is equal and even ang iyahang area. So, bali, equal ra siya. So, ana ang normal distribution. Kaya kung dili na siya equal, dili na siya normal distribution. Okay? And the fourth one is the third one, the mean, the median, and the mode coincide at the center. So, kaning normal distribution is makita nimo dinhi ang mean, mode, ug median lies on the center of this normal curve. So, diyan nimo makita ang mode, diyan nimo makita ang median, diyan nimo makita ang mean. So, that is the normal distribution. The fourth one is the tails of the curve flatten out in the differently along the horizontal axis, always approaching the axis but never touching it. That is, the curve is asymptotic to the baseline. So, unsay bot pasabot? As you can see here, this is an x-axis, right? Muli siya ang x-axis. An x-axis. Right here is a muna siyang giingon din sa number 4 na properties nga di ang x-axis or ang curve or ang normal distribution dili gid na siya mag-touch sa x-axis. Siguro mo close lang siya but never to touch it. Alright, so muna siyang dapat numtuman that normal distribution never touches the x-axis. So, moving into the number 5, so the total area under the normal curve is equal to 1 or 100%. So, related to number 3 nga property, number 2 na property, kung imo siyang tungaon, there will be an equal area to the right and to the left side of the normal curve because equal man siya, evenly distributed, so equal gid ang iyang area. So meaning to say, it is a normal distribution. On the two factors, okay, ito na ang mean and median, mean and standard deviation nga rule when it comes to the curve of the normal distribution. So the shape and position of a normal distribution curve depend on two parameters, the mean and the standard deviation. Each normally distributed variable has its own normal distribution curve, which depends on the value of the variable's mean and the standard deviation. shows to normal distribution with the same mean values but different standard deviation. So the larger standard deviation, the more dispersed or spread out the distribution is. So inani siya, kung dako ang standard deviation, mas lapad pud ang graph or mas lapad pud ang curve. Kung small naman, small value of the standard deviation yields a skinnier and total or taller normal curve. So kung small naman ang standard deviation, inani pud siya, taas ba or niwang ba imong curve, or yan siya kung taas ba yung peak, tapos yung wide is gamay lang, thinner, so niwang ni siya nga bell, while the large is dako kay siya og lapad kay siya. So those are the two factors, the mean and the standard deviation, wherein the curve depend on. So the shape and the position of a normal distribution curve depend on the two factors, the mean and standard deviation. So next will be the standard normal deviation. Thank you.
So, good afternoon, ma'am. I'm gonna report about the standard normal distribution. So, what is standard normal distribution? So, standard normal distribution is a normal distribution with a mean of 0 and a standard deviation of 1. So, the formula of standard normal distribution is y is equal to e negative z2 n2 over the square root of 2 pi. Also, ang standard normal distribution has a formula for standard score. Z is equal to value minus mean over the standard deviation, or like this. Like that. Next, so procedure table. Finding the area under the standard normal distribution curve. So, the first one is to the left of any z value, sa left side. Look up the z value in the table and use the area given. So, muna na siya, imong value nga gikan sa table, imo na siyang ipangitaon or imo siyang ipangitaon ang given sa left side, and then sa right side, look at the z value and subtract the area from 1. So, minusan gini mo siya 1. Ang pag sa right, and then pag sa left is value in the table lang. Sa right side is minus mo siya sa 1. Then, the next is between any two z values. So, look up both z values and subtract the corresponding areas. So, like this. Yan. Ang total sa left and sa right, yung mo siyang i-minus, and then, muna din na siya ang answer sa between two z values. Yan, makita mo na kung may example ko na later. So, first sample, table E, value 4. So, z is equal to 1.39. The area of the left of the C is 1.39. Is found by looking up 1.3 in the left column, and then the top column is 0.09, where the two lines meets an area of 0.9177. So, ganun na siya, guys. So, 1.9. Tama? 1.9? 3. Diba? 1.3 and 0.9. Yun na. 1.3 and 0.9. So, nala siya. 91.77. Na siya. 91.77. Kaya ang top, mo na siya ang left side, and then mo na siya ang top. Ang 1.3, diri na siya nga side. Ang 1.3, kani nga side. Ang 1.3, kani siya nga side. And then, ang 1.9, kani sa taas. Gets? Balik. So, mo na siya. Pag mag-meet na silang duha, mag-ana na siya guys ang forma. Ganyan. Mag-ana ba siya or mag-ana ba? Muna siya ang mag-answer og 91.9177. So, muna siya ang table guys. Na siya negative and then positive table. So, the first example, find the area to the left of z is equal to 1.99. So, mag-drawin mo og bell guys, og bell. Then, ang sa bell is sa center is 0 gina siya. 0. So, muna siya ang 1.99. So, we're looking for the area under the standard normal distribution curve to the left of z is equal to 1.99. Since this is sample the first case, look up the area in the table. It is 0.9767 or 97.67% ang area sa 1.99. So, gawin nyo na siya 1.9. Pareha lang kapag siya ito nagya. 1.9. 1.9 and 0.9. 97.67. Ano siya? Wala pa tayo. Dito na. Ano siya? Ano equivalent sa 1.99? 0.9767 or 97.67%. Next. So, find the right. So, ganina, left man to. So, karon right side na naman tayo. So, right side, may copy ko din guys. So, right side is z is equal to negative 1.16. So, same as that, mag-drawing yun mo bell. So, yung ano siya, ang negative 1.16. Yun. Yan, na. We're looking for the area to the right of z is equal to negative 1.16. So, negative 1.16 is equal siya og 0.3770. So, yun sa pagkuasa, 0.3770. Ang 0.3770 is gi-divide ang 6 into 2. Maunsa siya og 0.3. So, 0.3 ang left side, 0.3. 0.03 minta, 0.3 ang left side, and then 0.03 ang top. Same as that. Nag-divide siya sa 2. So, muna siya ang nakuha ang 0.3770. And then, 1.00 minus sa 0.1230 equal siya sa 8770 or nag-answer siya ang 8770. 87.70%. So, gin sa anong lahi ang total sa diri sa taas sa kani 3770 ug ang kaning 1230. Ang 1230 is equivalent siya sa 1.1 nga left side and then 0.06 sa top. Like this, oh. Ito, 1.1 and then next 1.1. Negative man to guys, negative. Dito. 1.1 and then 1.6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 na lang. 1.1 and then 1230. Tama. 1230. Yun. Muna siya ang nakuha si 1230. Ang equivalent sa 1.1 o ang 0.06. Muna siya. And then, ang kaning 1 is given na siya, standard deviation na siya. From gikan pa siya sa diri padaan, i-subtract gini mo or given na ang 1 kaya na siya, subtract area from 1. So, mo to siyang na-subtract siya sa 1. So, i-minus din mo ng 1.00 minus 0.1230 equals to 8770 or 87.70%. 0.70%, ang Z, negative 1.16. Yan na siya ang sa right side. Then, next is ang between. Between, Z is equal to positive 1.68, and then Z equals to negative 1.37. So, same as that, mag-drawing yapon mo og bell, like this. So, nga na siya, 1.37, nga, kani, and then, nga right side na siya. Ano siya right side, 1.37, and then, ang left side is this one, 1.68. So, since the area desired is between two given values, so, subtract the smaller area from the larger. So, ano siya. Dili ni mo i-minus ang 1.68 minus ana, ha? Dili, no. Dili ni mo i-minus ang positive 1.68 ug ang negative 1.37. Dili. Kung saan ni mga equivalent sa 1.68. So, 1.6 ug ang 0.8. Unsay type ang answer na siya is 95. 0.9535. Same as sa diri, sa negative 1.37, meron siya 1.3, and then 0.007, may equal siya 0.0853. 853, and then, I happen mo siya i-minus ang both. Yan. 0.9535 minus siya sa 0.0853 equals to 0.8682 or 86.82%. So, mana na siya ang sa between. Yan. And I think that would be my report, and thank you. Or 97.67%. Next. So, find the right. So, ganina, left man to. So, karon right side na naman tayo. So, right side, may copy ko din guys. So, right side is Z is equal to negative 1.16. So, same as that, mag-drawing yun mag-bell. So, nga na siya ang negative 1.16. Yun. Yan na. We're looking for the area to the right of Z is equal to negative 1.16. So, negative 1.16 is equal siya of 0.3770. So, yun sa pagkuha sa 0.3770. Ang 0.3770 is gidivide ang 6 into 2. Monsa siya og 0.3. So, 0.3 ang left side, 0.3 minata, 0.3 ang left side, and then 0.03 ang top. Same as that. Nag-divide siya sa 2. So, muna siya ang nakuha ang 0.3770. And then, 1.00 minus sa 0.1230 equal siya sa 8770, or nag-answer siya og 8770. 87.70%. So, ginsa pag anong lahi ang total sa diri sa taas sa kani 3770 ug ang kaning 1230. Ang 1230 is equivalent siya sa 1.1 nga left side, and then 0.06 sa top. Like this, oh. Ito, 1.1, and then, next, 1.1. Negative man to guys, negative. Dito. 1.1, and then 1.6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 na lang. 1.1, and then 1230. Tama. 1230. Yun. Muna siya ang nakuha si 1230. Ang equivalent sa 1.1 o ang 0.06. Muna siya. And then, ang kaning 1 is given na siya, standard deviation na siya. From gikan pa siya sa dire, So, diri pa daan, i-subtract gini mo or given na ang 1, kaya na siya, subtract area from 1. So, mo to siyang, na-subtract siya sa 1. So, i-minus ni mo ng 1.00 minus 0.1230 equals to 8770 or 87.70% ang Z, negative 1.16. Na siya ang sa right side. Then, next is ang between. Between Z is equal to positive 1.68 and then Z equals to negative 1.37. So, same as that, mag-drawing yapon mo og bell like this. So, nga na siya, 1.37 nga kani. And then, nga right side na siya. Ano siya right side? 1.37 and then ang left side is this one, 1.68. So, since the area desired is between two given values, so, subtract the smaller area from the larger. So, ano siya? Dili ni mo minus ang 1.68 minus dili ni mo minus ang positive 1.68 ug ang negative 1.37 dili. Kung saan may equivalent sa 1.68. So 1.6 ug ang 0.8 unsay type ang answer na siya is 95 0.9535. Same as sa diri sa negative 1.37 meron siya og 1.3 and then 0.007 may equal siya og 0.0853. 853 and then I have mo siya i-minus ang both niyan. 0.9535 minus siya sa 0.0853 equals to 0.8682 or 86.82%. So, mana na siya ang sa between. Yan. And I think that would be my report. And
hello everyone, my name is Diane Jamanatoha and my topic is about the central limit theorem. The central limit theorem is in addition to knowing how individual data values vary about the mean for a population. Statisticians are interested in knowing how the means of samples of the same size taken from the same population vary about the population mean. So, distribution of sample means. So, what is a sampling distribution of sample means? A sampling distribution of sample means is a distribution using the means computed from all possible random samples of a specific size taken from a population. So, sa atong example, namantay kanang sample nga gikuha nila sa 30 males nga ilang gikanda og measurement sa triglyceride levels. So, each samples nakakuha sila, sa first sample nila nakakuha sila og 180 milligrams per deciliter. So, after that, nag-conduct sila og second sample. Sa ilang second sample, nakakuha na po sila og mean nga 192 milligrams per deciliter. So, sa ilang pag-continue sa ilang sample, kanang random pod ang kanang mean nga nakakuha nila sa each sample. So, mauna siya ang gitawag nga sampling distribution of sample means. If the sample means are randomly selected with replacement, the sample means for the most part will be somewhat different from the population mean mu. These differences are caused by sampling error. So, sampling error is the difference between the sample measure and the corresponding population measure due to the fact that the sample is not perfect representation of the population. So, the two important properties of the distribution of sample means are, number one, the mean of the sample means will be the same as the population mean. Number two, the standard deviation of the sample means will be smaller than the standard deviation of the population, and it will be equal to the population standard deviation divided by the square root of the sample size. So, let's have our example. Para makuha nato, para mag-prove nato kung sakto ba ni ang properties of the distribution sa sample means. So, the following example illustrates these two properties. Suppose a professor gave an 8-point quiz to a small class of 4 students. The results of the quiz were 2, 6, 4, and 8. For the sake of discussion, assume that the 4 students constitute the population. So the mean of the population is mu is equals to 2 plus 6 plus 4 plus 8 divided by 4. The population mean is equals to ang atong value sa atong data, which is 2 plus 6 plus 4 plus 8 is divided by 4, which is the total population. So 2 plus 6 plus 4 plus 8 is equals to 20. Divided by 4 is equals to 5. So 5, mauna siya ang atong mean sa atong population. Next, the standard deviation of the population. So, unsaon na to pagkuha sa standard deviation sa population. So, kay nakuha naman nato ang atong mean and standard deviation sa atong population. Now, kuha na po nato ang atong sample mean o ang atong standard deviation sa sample. So, now, if all samples of size 2 are taken with replacement and the mean of each sample is found, the distribution is as shown. So, kakuha na to sa atong mga sample, kuha na to yung mean. So, 2 ug 2. So, ang mean niya is 2. 2 and 4. So, unsa man yung mean? 2, 3, 4. So, it's 3. Sa atong 2 and 6, so, i-by 2 na to siya. So, 2, 4, 6. So, atong mean ana, 4. Sa atong 2 and 8, i-by 3. So, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So, atong mean ana is 5. And same ragyapon siya sa una, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4, 6, 5, 4, 8, 8, and so on and so forth. So, after that, kuha na nato ang frequency distribution sa atong sample means. So, ang frequency distribution of sample means is as follows. Kani sila, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So, if na-wonder mo, asa po din nato nakuha ang atong frequency, so let's say, sa ato ang sample mean, pila man ka 2 ang naa sa atong sample mean. So, dire, kung ato siyang tanawon, isa ra gyud ka 2. So, that's why atong frequency is 1. So, sa number 3, pila man ka 3 ang nasa atong sample mean. So, kung atong ihapon, 1 and 2. So, maong 2 siya. So, pila ka 4, 1, 2, 3. So, 3 po atong 4. Kani siya, sample mean. So, kung kana siya, i-add nato na siya, mahimo siyang 80. So, divided by 16, kung ga-wonder food mo, asa na nakuha ang 16, mao ni siya ang total sa atong frequency, sa atong data value. So, ang standard deviation sa atong sample means is equals to 1.581. So, it proves that ang standard deviation sa atong sample means is mas gamay sa standard deviation sa atong the summation of x, which is ang value sa atong data, is divided by 16. So, same lang ganina, no? 2 minus 5, 2 minus 5 squared plus 3 minus 5 squared plus 4 minus 5 squared plus 5 minus 5 squared hantod sa 8 minus 5 squared. Ang total niya is 1.5.81, which is the same as the population standard deviation divided by square root of 2. So the population standard deviation, sigma, and x bar, which is a sample mean, is equals to 2.236, which is ang standard deviation sa atong population, gi-divide siya sa 2. So, kung i-divide na to ang 2.236 sa 2 is equals to 1.581, which is maupun na siya ang standard deviation sa atong sample means. So, let's take note that rounding rules were not used here in order to show that the answers coincide. In summary, if all possible sample of size n are taken with replacement from the same population, the mean of the sample means denoted by mu equals the population mean mu, and the standard deviation of the sample means denoted by sigma x bar equals to sigma divided by square root of n. The standard deviation of the sample mean is called the standard error of the mean. Hence, the sigma x bar is equals to the population standard deviation divided by square root of n, which is the sample size. A third property of the sampling distribution of sample means pertains to the shape of distribution as explained by the central limit theorem. Central limit theorem: as the sample size n increases without limit, the shape of the distribution of the sample means taken with replacement from a population with mean mu, which is the population mean, and standard deviation sigma will approach a normal distribution. As previously shown, the distribution will have a mean mu and a standard deviation sigma divided by the square root of n. It is z is equals to x bar, which is the sample mean, minus the mu, which is the population mean, over the square root of n, which is the sample size. 1. The percentage indicate the areas of the regions. So, it is important to remember two things when you use the central limit theorem. Number 1, when the original variable is normally distributed, the distribution of the sample means will be normally distributed for any sample size n. When the distribution of the original variable might not be normal, a sample size of 30 or more is needed to use a normal distribution to approximate the distribution of the sample means. The larger the sample, the better the approximation will be. So, let's have an example. Ang standard deviation is 3 hours divided by the square root of our sample size, which is ang 20 ka-children. So, ang sigma x bar is equals to the population standard deviation, which is ang 3 divided by square root of n, which is ang sample size na to, ang 20 ka-children. So, 3 divided by the square root of 20 is equals to 0.671. The distribution of the means is shown in figure with the appropriate area shaded. So, the z value is, ang atong mean, mauni siya ang 25. So, the distribution means shown in figure with the appropriate shaded. The z value nato is 26.3. So, z is equals to x minus the population mean over the population standard deviation divided by the square root of n. So, atong 26.3 sa atong example, mo na siya ang hours nga dapat makompute na to ang mean sa number of hours nga nag-watch ang children og television. So, 26.3 minus 25, which is atong mean kani, divided by 3. Mao na siya ang 3 sa akong giingon. Mao na siya atong standard deviation. Divided by the square root of 20, which is our sample mean nato, ang 20 ka children. So, 26.3 minus 25 is equals to 1.3. And 3 divided by the square root of 20 is, mauna siya katong ganina, 0.671. So, 1.3 divided by 0.671 is equals to 1.94. The area to the right of 1.94 is 1.000 minus 0.9738 is equals to 0.0262 or 2.62%. one can conclude that the probability of obtaining a sample mean larger than 26.3 hours is 2.62%. So next example. The area under a normal curve. The average of a vehicle registered in the United States is 8 years or 96 months. Assume the standard deviation is 16 months. If a random sample of 36 vehicles is selected, find the probability that the mean of their age is between 90 and 100 months. Since the sample is 30 or larger, the normality assumption is not necessary. So, kaning example nato no naatay duwa ka values which is kaning 90 and 100 months. So first ato sang kuhaon ang sa 90. Z1 is equals to x bar, which is ang sample mean nato, ang 90 minus our population mean nato nga 96 months over 16, which is ang atong standard deviation na given, divided by 36, which is ang atong sample size kani siya. Mao ni siya ang 36 vehicles. Ang atong standard deviation mao ni siya ang 16 months. So Z1 is equals to 90 minus 96 divided by over 16 divided by the square root of 36. So kung i-total mo na siya, ang mugawas na result is equals to negative 2.25. So mao ni siya. And then after that, ato na pong i-solve ang ikadua. Nato nga kadua man kabuk atong values. So ang 100 months. So 100 minus 96 over 16 divided, ang ato ra gilistan kanira siya no ganina 90, karon na gani kung ganina siya 90 mo na tong first value, karon na po ang ilista nato kani siyang 100 kay same ra man ang gyapon natong population mean, ang atong standard deviation, ang atong sample size. So 100 minus 96 over 16 divided by square root of 36 is equals to 1.50. To find the area between the two values of negative 2.25 and 1.50, look up the corresponding area in table A and subtract one from another. So the area for Z is equals to negative 25. Is 0.0122 and the area for Z is equals to 1.50 is 0.9332. Hence, the area between the two values is 0.9332 minus 0.0122 is equals to 0.9210 or 92.1%. Hence, the probability of obtaining a sample mean between 90 and 100 months is 92.1%. Alright, that is P90 is equals to 92.1%. Well, students sometimes have difficulty deciding whether to use Z is equals to sample mean minus the population mean over the population standard deviation divided by the square root of our sample size, or Z is equals to X minus the population mean divided by our population standard deviation. The formula Z is equals to X bar minus mu over sigma divided by the square root of n should be used to gain information about a sample mean as shown in this section. The formula Z is equals to x minus mu divided by sigma is used to get information about an individual data value obtained from the population. Notice that the first formula contains x bar, the symbol for the sample mean, while the second formula contains x, the symbol for an individual data value. So, kaning x bar, mo na siya ang, basig maglibog ta, mo na siya ang symbol sa atong sample mean, while ang x alone is the symbol for our individual data. So the formulas and their uses are summarized in table 6.1. The summaries of formulas and their uses. So that's the end of my presentation.
So, good day everyone. My topic is the normal approximation to the binomial distribution. So, normal distribution is often used to solve problems that involve the binomial distribution. So, the n is the large the calculation. So, n is the number of trials and p is the number of success. So, according sa mga statisticians, generally agree that normal approximation should be used only when n times p and n times q are both greater than or equal to 5. So, naa siya normal approximation if mag-equal siya into 5 or greater than sa 5. So, para makuha na to ang value ni q, ato siyang 1, i-minus na to sa p, which is the number of success. Para makuha na to si q. So, to get the mean, i-times na to ang number of trials and number of success. So, sa standard deviation po, i-square root na to ang number of trials, number of success, o si Q. So, for example, ato ang P is 0.3. Then, ato ang N is 10. So, N of P, i-times na to ni siya. So, 10 and times 0.3 equals 3. So, dili siya magamitan og normal distribution with the approximation. So, on the other hand, if ato ang value sa P is 0.5, then sa N is 10. So, i-times nato ni siya, 10 times 0.5 is mag-equivalent siya into 5. Then, N times Q equals 10 times 0.5 is equivalent sa 5. So, naa siya magamitan na siya normal distribution sa approximation itself. So, binomial probabilities for n is 10 and p equals 0.3. So, if i-times man na to ang n times q, so ang q man is 1 minus p, is mag-result siya og 7. So, dili siya pareha sa n times p. So, diri po sa PCAS, if ato ang example is 0.5, so mag-equivalent siya or equal siya into 5. So, naa siya kini ginatawag nato og normal distribution. So, a correction for continuity is a correction employed when a continuous distribution is used to approximate a discrete distribution. So, NP is greater than and NP is greater than to 5 is a correction for continuity may be used in the normal approximation. A normal distribution to approximate the binomial must use the boundaries for any specific value of x. So, for example, atong p of x is equal to 8. So, ang correction ani is, mahimo na din ang p, which is 7.5, is less than to x and less than to 8.5. Kay gimaynosa na to ang 8 og 0.5, tapos giplasa na to ang sa left side is giplasa na to og positive 0.5. So, sa p of x, if less than into 7, so the correction na ani is p of x is less than to 7.5. So, nag-add ta og 0.5. So, sa p of x greater than 3, so the correction is p of x is greater than 2.5. So, nag-minus ta og 0.5 para makuha na to ang 2.5, which is the p of x is greater than 3. So, muna siyang summary for the normal approximation to the binomial distribution. So for the binomial p of x equals to a, p of x is greater than to a, p of x is greater than to a. So mao ni siya ang magamit tani diri sa normal p of x is greater than a. Minusan ginato na siya permi og 0.5. If less than po siya is mag-add ta og 0.5. So in all cases, mean equals n times p. Sa standard deviation pod is mag-result ni siya square lang nato siya ang n times p times q. Mag-result na siya sa n times p is greater than 5 and n times q is greater than 5. So procedure for the normal approximations to the binomial distribution. So para makuha na to ang result is naa siya 6 ka step. So sa step 1 is i-check na to see whether the normal approximation can be used. So after ana is pangitaon na to ang mean and the standard deviation para makuha na to ang normal approximation. So after that is i-write na to ang problem sa probability notation gamit ang x. So i-rewrite na to ang problem by using continuity correction factor and show the corresponding area under the normal distribution. So sa step 5 is pangitan na ang corresponding z values, and lastly find the solution. So here are the example. So reading while driving. So a magazine reported that 6% American drivers read a newspaper while driving. So if 300 drivers are selected at random, so find the probability that exactly 25 say newspaper while driving. So mo ni siya ang solution. So ato ang p is 0.06 and ato ang value sa ato ang q. So para makuha gani nato ang 0.94, so 1 minus p. So ang ato ang p, value sa atong p 0.06 man. So if i-minus ato ang 1 sa 0.06, mag-result siya og 0.94. So ang value sa ato ang n is given naman siya, so 300. So n times p equals 300, i-times nato siya 0.06 is mag-result siya og 18. So i-times nato ang nq equals 300 times 0.94, mag-result siya og 282. So since ato ang n times p is greater than 5 and n times u is greater than 5, so ato ang normal distribution is magamit siya. So para makuha nato ang mean, ang n times p is 300, i-times na to siya sa atong value nga p, which is 0.06, is mag-result siya og 18. So sa standard deviation pod, square root man nato, di ba, para makuha ang standard deviation. So i-times lang nato ang n times p times q. So mag-result siya og 16.92. So ang kining 16.92, if atuan ni siyang isolve sa calculator, so mag-result ni siya og 4.11. So ang ato ang p of x is 25 man, kay mo man ni siya atong ginapangitaan og pangitan mo ang probability. So p equals 25, i-minus nato siya sa 0.5, which is less than sa 5, and ang 25 is mag-add punta og 0.5. Mag-result siya 24.5, then 25.5. So mo ni siya ang normal distribution sa kato siya nga problem. So para makuha na to ang z values, since 25 man ang nag-represents that any values between 24.5 and 25.5, so sa C-sub 1, ang ato ang gamiton diri is 25.5. Sa C-sub 2 is 24.5. So sa C-sub 1 is 25.5. So minusan nato siya 18. So kung matingala mo, nigikuha ang 18. So mao ni siya kaganina nga ang pagkuha sa 18 is gamit ang mean. So kini siyang 4.11 dira sa ubos is mao na siya ang ato ang i-divide, which is mao na siya ang result sa ato ang standard deviation nga gisolve kaganina. So 25 0.5, i-minus na siya 18, then ang result nato is i-divide nato sa 4.11 is mag-result siya og 1.82. So sa CSAB 2 is 24.5 minus 18. So same lang gyapon siya kaganina nga ang kaning 18 is ikuha nato ni siya sa mean, sa value sa mean. So ang 4.11 is the value sa standard deviation nga to ang gi-discuss. So 1.58 ang iyahang value sa ZSAB 2. So sa step 6 is mao ni siya ang kuan na ni siya kining the area to the left of Z is 1.82. So kung matingala mo aha manigi ko ang 0.9656 para makuha ni siya is magamit ta og kining kuan sa tawag ani oy kining so makuha ni siya is para makalculate nato ang 0.9656 is ang equivalent sa ato ang Z values is 1.82 man. So para makuha ni siya is gamit ta og katong Z values calculator. So para makuha na to ang cumulative probability. So on the area sa left is Z equals 1.58 is 0.9429. So the area between sa Z values is ang result sa 1.82 o sa 1.58 i-minus to siya is mag-result siya og 2.27%. So ato ang gipangita is 25 read the newspaper while driving is ang probability ani is 2.27%. So another example is widowed bowlers. So of the members of bowling league, 10% are widowed if 200 bowling league members are selected at random. So pangitaon niya to probability that 10 or more will be widowed. So ang solution ani is ato ang P equals 0.10 man. Agi ko ang 0.10 basin matingala mo is equivalent ni siya sa 10% into decimal. So ang ato ang Q mahimo siya og 0.90 in which pagkuha sa Q again is 1 minus P. So ang ato ang P, ang value sa ato ang P is 0.10. So if i-minus ang 1 sa 0.10 is mag-result siya 0.90. So ang ato ang N, given naman siya which is 200 bowling league members. So mao na siya to ang N. So ang N times P equals 200 times 0.10 is mag-result siya og 20. Then sa N times Q equals 200, i-times na to siya 0.90 is mag-result siya og 180. So para makuha na to ang mean again is i-times na to ang N of P is 200 times 0.10 equals 20. Para makuha po na to ang standard deviation again is square root lang siya. I-times lang ang N times P times Q. So ang 200 i-times na to 0.10 times 0.90 is 18. So, ang 18 is square root nato siya is mag-result siya of 4.24. So, ato ang ginapangita is probability of 10 will be widowed. So, P of X is less than sa 10. So, P of X is greater than 10 minus 0.5 is, gimainosan man nato siya 0.5 is mag-result na ni siya og 9.5. So, mo na siya iyahang normal distribution to the binomial approximation. So, ang ato ang nasa center is 20 which is mao man ni siya ang mean. Then, ang ato ang P of X is 9.5. So, mauna siya ang normal distribution. So, sa step 5 is para makuha na to ang Z values is 9.5 minus 20 which is mauna siya ang ato ang mean and i-divide na to siya sa standard deviation which is nag-result of 4.24. So, ma-negative 2.48 na iyahang result. So, the area to the left of Z is negative 2 is mag-result of 0.0066. ang area to the right is 2.48 is 1.00. So, i-minus natin ni siya sa equivalent sa z-values, 0.0066 equals 0.993. Kay, kada kwan is 4 decimal places or ginatang natin 99.34%. So, it can be concluded that the probability of 10 or more widowed people in the random sample of 200 bowling league members is mag-result siya og 99.34%. So, another example is batting average. So, if a basketball player batting average is 0.32 or 32%, so pangitaan na itong probability that the player will get at most 26 hits in 100 times at bat. So, ang solution na to ani is na naman tayo mga given. So, sa ato ang P equals 0.32, ang Q, again, ang pagkuha sa Q is 1 minus P para makuha nato ang 0.68. So, ang N is given naman siya, which is 100. So, i-times nato ang N times P is 100 times 0.32 is mag-result siya of 32. So, sa N times Q is 100 times 0.68 is mag-result siya of 68. So, ang normal distribution can be used approximate the binomial distribution. So, kini siya, para makuha nato ang mean, i-times nato ang N of P, which is 100 times 0.32 is mag-result siya 32. So, pagkuha sa standard deviation, so, sa other example is maura gyapon siya pagkuha sa standard deviation, is square root lang na to ang N times P times Q. So, i-times na to siya daan, ayan na to siya. Ang result is square root na to siya. So, 100 times 0.32 times 0.68 is mag-result siya og 21.76. So, ang square root sa 21.76 is mag-result siya og 4.66. So, ato ang ginapangita is 26 probability sa 26 hit in 100 times in a bat. So, P of X is less than 26. So, mag-add ta og 0.5. So, mag-result din siya og 26.5. So, mao na siya para makuha na to ang z-values. Sa z-values is 26.5 man tong result. I-minus na to siya sa 32, which is mao to siya ang mean. Then i-divide na to siya into 4.66, mao ni siya ang result sa standard deviation. So mag-result siya og 1.18. So kini siya nga normal distribution to the binomial approximations. So the area to the left is 1.18 is mag-equivalent siya 0.1190. So ato ang probability is 11.9%. So this is the end of my topic, which is the normal distribution to the binomial distribution.